What's up guys, and welcome to the channel. It's Joanna here, founder and CEO of Supwell, and I'm back with another shoe preview and market analysis. The shoe in question today is the New Balance Rebel V4. This is a really exciting one. We've seen some pictures floating around, and it seems like the prototypes that we saw a few months ago are going to be the production ready version. So in this video, I'm gonna do a breakdown of the market for the New Balance Rebel V4, that non-plated, up-tempo, lightweight trainer segment, and let you know where it might slot into your lineup. Let's get into it. So straight off the top, shout out to my guy Kix Alualuo2. I'm gonna throw his handle up here on the screen. Go ahead and follow him. He's the one who leaked the prototype of the shoe that I'm gonna throw up on the screen right here. So let's get into it. What is the New Balance Rebel series? I'm holding the V3 right here, and this is one of the best lightweight, flexible, snappy daily trainers. It's in a segment of non-plated, lightweight tempo shoes that's kind of dying out a little bit. There's a few others in the category that are holding strong, like the Hoka Mach 5, the Brooks Hyperion, and the Saucony Kinvara, but the market is shifting away from shoes like these in favor of shoes like that Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, or the new Hoka Mach X, or the Adidas Boston 12. These shoes that are using multiple types of foam and plates or rods or something to stabilize that platform and give runners an easier running experience. On the other hand, these lightweight tempo trainers like the New Balance Rebel V3, the Hoka Mach 5, and the Saucony Kinvara encourage you to run with a more natural form, promote building strength, and help you build out all those lower leg muscles to become a better runner. So the midsole foam that we have in the Rebel V3 is called FuelCell. It's a supercritical TPU EVA blend, and it's really light, soft, and bouncy. It reminds me of almost a PIBA compound. It's not as energy returning, but when you push the pace, it has that similar pop and bounce. If you look at some of the other shoes in the segment, you'll see that the Kinvara is the last one holding out with that standard traditional EVA. We have the Hoka Mach 5, which has a dual foam EVA construction where the top layer is a supercritical EVA, the bottom layer is a standard EVA. Then you go to that Topo Athletic Cyclone 2, and that's using a 100% PIBA midsole. So this is square down the middle of the market. It's not EVA, it's not a PIBA, but it's a really nice, solid all-around feel that I think is decently durable, and it's not gonna give you as much pop as a PIBA, but it's not gonna die out as quick as a traditional EVA. Now, I'm not gonna tease you any longer. Let's get into the biggest topic on everyone's mind with the shoe stack height. In the Rebel V3, there's about a 27.5 millimeter stack of foam in the heel and a 21.5 millimeter stack of foam in the forefoot for that 6 millimeter drop. Now, it looks visually from this prototype that leaked like we've grown a little bit, maybe to that 30 millimeter to 32 millimeter range in the heel. I'm guessing they lightened up the fuel cell foam and they're not gonna be using the same exact compound as we see in the V3, so the weight won't be crazy. Either way, it's not just about the weight when it comes to a shoe like the Rebel. The purpose of these is to give a more minimalist, flexible experience. So with it growing a bit in stack height, I'd be really curious to see how that informs the underfoot sensation that we're gonna get. I'll throw up another picture on the screen here where we see the Rebel on someone's foot. And in that one, it really looks like we've grown a little bit in stack height, and it also looks like the platform has widened out. I'm gonna guess that the heel stack is in that 33 range and the forefoot has gone up to 27. That's pretty similar to something like the Adidas Takumi Sen, which still does have a relatively minimal feel compared to some other tempo shoes. So not all hope is lost. I do think New Balance knows the spirit of the series. They've done a great job with the 1080 and the 880, keeping that lineage and heritage alive with each new iteration of the model. So I'm hoping that they'll do that same thing with the Rebel. So New Balance, if you're listening, the reason us runners love the Rebel so much is because of that lightweight, flexible, snappy feel. So if you messed it up with the V4, please heed my words for the V5 and keep a nice, flexible, lightweight, minimally cushioned platform. Next up, let's get into the outsole. Now, this is a huge topic with these tempo trainers because there's a real range in how much rubber we have covering them. And the Rebel V3 has been one of the best shoes in terms of durability in the tempo segment. So if you look at this platform here, it's got the whole forefoot covered and most of the heel area as well. Now, if we compare that to the Hoka Mach 5, this one has absolutely no rubber covering the outsole on the opposite end of the spectrum, and you're only gonna get about 200 to 250 miles for most runners out of this. The durability for the Rebel, on the other hand, should be 300 to 400 miles. If we look at a shoe like the Saucony Kinvara, that also has very strategically placed rubber, a little bit on the forefoot and a little bit on the heel. It's not gonna be as solid as this. I took the Rebel V3 out on a gravel path today for a 10-mile run, and it worked great, and I'm not seeing a ton of foam chewed up on the bottom here. I did the same thing with the Mach 5 a few weeks back, and the platform got completely smashed from that. So the Rebel V4 looks to have retained that same heavy outsole rubber coverage. If you look at the forefoot, there is a nice solid strip. You can see it's that yellowy color up there, and same thing in the back. You can see that blue rubber covering the heel area. So it looks like they've retained that nice rubber covering, and if they lightened up the foam, that means this should be coming in at around the same weight or maybe even a touch lighter. All right, guys, let's get into the elephant in the room here, which is design. Now, when these pictures first came out, I saw people calling this the Adizero Rebel V4 as a nod to New Balance potentially stealing the Adidas design language with this, and you know what? Those people aren't completely wrong. It does look a little bit like that Adidas design language, and let's compare it really quickly to the Takumi Sen so we can see where these similarities are. So this is the Adidas Takumi Sen 8, and you can see New Balance definitely did a pretty similar thing with the way that they molded the foam with these aggressive sharp cutouts. I like calling it the Lambo design language, and if you go down to the inside of the shoe and the bottom, you'll see there's even more similarities with the way that they've done these cutouts. And you know what? It's not the worst thing in the world. I think this is a really sleek looking shoe, and like they say about the NBA, it's a make or miss league. For the world of running shoe design, it is a copycat industry. So we see something work for one brand, it's gonna scale out to the other ones. If you look at that new Brooks Ghost Max and even look at the Asics Gel Nimbus, all these brands are now copying what Allbirds did with their minimalist grayscale earth tone design. So it's not the worst thing in the world to have the successful, nice design languages trickle out to all the other brands. It's a tide that lifts all boats. And if we can get away from some of the horrible running shoe designs that we've seen, and I'm not gonna call out any names, but the Brooks Ghost lineup, then that's a win for everybody, right? And I think New Balance has been doing a great job on both their lifestyle casual shoes and their performance running shoes, just iterating, changing up their design language, not going too crazy modern, keeping true to the roots of the brand, but giving runners some nice stylish colorways and some stylish on-foot performance. The Rebel V3 comes in at 7.1 ounces, which is straight down the middle of the market. We have the Topo Cyclone 2 at 6.7 ounces, the Kinvara at 7 ounces flat, and then the Hoka Mach 5 at 8.2 ounces. So even if they do add a few ounces, bring it up to 7.5 with that bigger stack of midsole foam we're seeing, it still will be a lightweight option. I don't think you'll feel the difference on foot, especially if you're getting more performance, more balance from a reworked fuel cell compound, and it will be competitive in the market still. If we go up to that high sevens range, that's where you're gonna start seeing a difference, and I really hope they don't do that, because one of the big draws of this is that lightweight feeling. Next, let's get into the upper. So the upper of the Rebel V3 is one of my favorites right now. It is on the roomier side. I got this one a half size up from my normal size. I think I could have gotten it in my normal size, but it does have more room in the toe box than many of the other shoes I've been running in recently. Definitely all the Saucony Endorphins are a bit narrower than this. The Hoka Mach 5 is narrower than this. I've also been running in the Adizero SL from Adidas, and it's narrower than this. So the New Balance is a pretty roomy brand when it comes to toe boxes. And if we look at the upper in the picture that leaked, it looks to be the same material as this, an engineered mesh situation, nothing fancy going on. And that's one of the best qualities about the shoe in general. It's just a really solid, no frills trainer. There's no plates, no extra tech, no weird overlays on the upper, just a nice solid platform for pushing the pace and building that aerobic base. All right, guys, there you have it. That is the preview and market analysis. As always, thank you for subscribing, and I'll make sure to keep you up to date on the latest and greatest in the world of performance running.